Hey viewers, welcome to Tools Advisor. In this video we're going to check out 5 best multi-process welder you can buy right now. We made this list based on tools' performance, features, manufacturer's reputation, value for money and most importantly reviews of actual user. So, if you choose from this list, you can be rest assured that you are buying the best multi-process welder. For more information and updated price, please do check the product link in the description box below and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to enjoy more awesome guide like this. So, without any delay let's get started. Our number 1 pick is Lotos LTPDC2000D. This combines a 200 amp DC TIG welder, 50 amp plasma cutter and 200 amp stick welder into one machine. It uses either 120 volt or 240 volt power. 200 amps is enough power to weld a half-inch steel in a single pass. 15 amp TIG is fine enough level of control for confidence in welding 24 gauge sheet metal. The 50 amps of plasma cutting juice will go right through a half-inch steel. The TIG and plasma torches both have 13-foot connections for a lot of working room. Unfortunately, this machine doesn't include a TIG pedal but can connect one. Some users complain of quality problems and aren't happy with the customer service. Our second best multi-process welder is Weldpro 200. This machine has an all-metal aluminum drive to provide a precision, durable wire feed. The feed mechanism can mount 2-pound wire rolls as well as 10-pound wire rolls. The inverter type IGBT power source keeps the machine relatively light at 30 pounds. The TIG function is a lift-type arc start, featuring 2T4T locking trigger function to keep the arc lit for long welds. To use the machine in TIG mode, you'll need to buy the right gas regulator for it. There is no foot pedal heat control for TIG mode, and this machine isn't compatible with one. Let's watch more.
Hi, I'm Luke from Weldpro. Today I'm here with part 3 of the TIG 200 series. In today's episode, we're going to show you how to set up the TIG 200 and a few other assorted things needed to get welding. I'm going to show you how to prepare your plates and your tungsten to achieve the highest quality weld with TIG. Throughout the rest of this series, we're going to teach you how to weld mild steel, stainless, aluminum, out of position welding, and even pipe, and that'll all come with time. But for now, we're going to start with fusion welding, sometimes known as autogenous welding. Before we get started setting up the machine, let me show you how to grind tungsten. When grinding tungsten, it's important to get a nice symmetrical cone. We're going to put our tungsten against a grinding wheel and we're going to twist it. One very important thing to note, don't grind the taper on your tungsten more than 1.5 times the diameter of the tungsten. If you have a very long point, under high current conditions, the tip of the tungsten can fall off due to erosion and land in your weld pool, causing contamination. The best way to achieve a perfect cone on this tungsten is to insert the tungsten into the chuck of a drill. Going slowly, you'll spin the drill as the tungsten is grinding. This will help achieve that perfect symmetrical taper that we're looking for. If you don't have a drill, that's okay. You can spin the tungsten with your fingers. It's just very hard to achieve that perfect cone. Often it will leave a flat spot or create an elliptical shape on that cone. When grinding tungsten, always wear safety glasses. It doesn't take much for a piece of this extremely hard tungsten to come flying off and head directly into your eye. Okay, so I've gone ahead and inserted the tungsten into the chuck of my drill. I'm going to turn on the grinder and I'm going to start to grind this taper on very slowly. Positioning your tungsten on the wheel correctly is important. If your tungsten is too high, your taper will be too long. If your tungsten is too far down on the wheel, you'll just be grinding a flat spot or a very short taper. This will come with practice. All right, when ground correctly.
Number 3 in our list is Lincoln Electric MIG 210. It offers MIG, DC TIG, DC arc welding and flux core processes with a very wide output range from 20 amps up to 140 amps when running on 120 volt input and 210 amps on 240 volt input. At 20 amps, you're able to weld as thin as 28 gauge with MIG and flux core, even thinner with TIG. At the other end, using 240 volt input, running 210 amps, you can go to 5/16 inch thick steel plate. One quality control issue with this machine is the wire feed spindle can be out of round, causing jams when the wire won't feed smoothly. Lincoln will replace it, but you need to make your claim while the machine is under warranty. Let's watch more about this product.
Hi, I'm Josh with the Lincoln Electric Company, and I'm here to tell you a little more about the PowerMig 210MP. One of the most unique features of this machine is the user interface, so I want to take a few minutes and explain to you the basic features and how you can access all of its functionality. You'll notice in the top corner we've got the wire feed speed and amperage control. On the adjacent side we have the voltage control, which also functions as an on-off control when you're in stick and TIG mode. In the bottom left corner we've got our home button. No matter where you navigate to in the user interface, you can always return to the main selection screen using the home button. This center knob is used not only to make changes, but also as a selection knob as you're navigating the user interface. And on the bottom right, we've got the back arrow. Anytime you navigate through this step-by-step user interface, you can take a step back and make adjustments based on what you're welding. We're going to go ahead and turn the machine on and talk a little bit more about some of the adjustments we can make both while welding and prior to welding. You'll notice the machine intuitively recognizes that it's currently plugged into 120 volt input. Whether you're plugged into 120 or 230, the machine itself will sense that and adjust based on what kind of input voltage you have. Before we start looking at some of the weld procedures, we're going to rotate all the way to the right to our settings menu. I want to walk you through a few of the basic settings that are available. We're going to use this center knob to navigate, and then when we get to what we want to use, we're going to push that center knob in to actually select it. So you'll notice the first thing I've selected here is units. You have access to both English and metric units. Depending on where you're at and regional variances, you can use either. I'm going to use this back knob to take a step back. Rotating over one selection, we have language. The machine is set up with both English, Spanish, and French. So depending on where you're at and what language you speak, you have the ability to rotate through any of those. Brightness, depending on visibility and where you're working, you might find it necessary to turn the brightness level down of the actual user interface. So if you're in a very dark area and you find that it's bothering you, you can turn it down. But for most cases, we leave it all the way up. General information about the machine and a factory reset. If you ever make any adjustments and you can't quite figure out how to get it back to where you were, you can always use the factory reset to take the machine back to its factory settings and erase anything you might have changed in its memory. The first process we're going to walk through is one of the more common uses of this machine. It's going to be MIG welding with mixed gas. So you'll notice out of our selection process here, the first selection is MIG steel C25. There's a couple other options I'll briefly walk through. We have MIG steel optimized for pure CO2, manual CV mode, which is going to allow you to adjust the machine to whatever settings you want based on your electrode. Flux cord, so if you're welding with a gas shielded or a self-shielded flux cord wire, you can choose flux cord. Spool gun aluminum. If you're welding aluminum, obviously you'd want to use a spool gun with this. We recommend the Magnum Pro 100 SG spool gun. Stick, obviously stick welding, TIG welding, and the settings menu we've already discussed. Now that we've gone over the user interface, in the next video, we're going to show you how to set up a basic MIG weld using mixed gas.
Our fourth pick is Forney Easy Weld 140. This is a high-quality multi-process MIG, flux core, DC stick and DC TIG welding machine. Because it uses 120 volt input power, it's convenient to use just about any place that has household current available. This machine has an all-aluminum wire feed drive that holds both 2-pound and 10-pound wire spools. The 10-foot torch connection and electrode clamp allow plenty of choice for placing the machine in the work area, which lets you move around and do better work. One drawback with this particular machine is that to take advantage of the MIG process, you have to buy a gas regulator. Let's watch more.
Hi, I'm Caitlin with Forney Industries. Here we have our Forney Easy Weld 140MP. It's capable of MIG, TIG, and stick welding. Let's open it up and see what's inside. This is a single-phase inverter multi-process welder. The input is 120 volts and the max output is 140 amps. This machine comes with a quick start guide, manual, and Forney contact info in case you have questions. It also comes with a 15 to 20 amp plug adapter, MIG gun, an extra 030 contact tip, stick electrode holder, ground cable, and clamp. The selector switch allows you to choose MIG, stick, or TIG welding. The left knob is for voltage and amps depending on what mode you're in. This machine is designed to hold 10 pounds of gas or gasless wire. The right knob is for the wire feed speed while in MIG or wire feed mode. If you want to use shielding gas for true MIG welding, you will also need to purchase a regulator and a gas line. We recommend item numbers 85363 and 85663 as they are not included with this machine. If you want to TIG weld, this is a lift arc TIG machine and the TIG torch is sold separately. For stick welding, you can use up to 1/8 inch electrode. That sums up the Forney EasyWeld 140 MP. This is the perfect machine to learn the basics of welding and get experience with different processes. It's ideal for do-it-yourselfers, maintenance and repair, hobbyists, and metal artists. Remember to wear the proper personal protective gear, non-flammable clothing like denim or cotton, safety glasses, a welding helmet, welding gloves, and FR jacket.
Last in our list is Everlast PowerMTS 211C. This is a very capable machine with MIG, flux core, TIG and stick welding processes. It's a pretty advanced machine that works as either a high-frequency no-touch arc, starting when you use the included TIG foot pedal control, or with a lift-type arc, start using the torch trigger. This machine has what's called synergic design, meaning that it automatically adjusts wire feed speed and amperage levels while you're welding to maintain a better arc. The burn back feature resets the wire electrode stick out to the optimum length automatically when you stop welding.